All right, everyone, here we are for the inaugural edition of the Shower Beer Podcast. My name is John, and one time Allen Iverson pushed me.
My name is Chris. I am a diehard Sixers fan. Sam Hinkie is a god, and wrestling is not fake.
My name is Jack. I'm a diehard Philadelphia sports fan, and I hate anybody who doesn't like a team in their town.
All right, well, that's awesome. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into this week's rundown. I'm going to go ahead and immediately move number 1 to number 2. And let's talk about the big news that's out today. iPhone 7 has had their huge announcement. They did their big Apple Circle Jerk reveal that they love doing so much for a lot of fanfare around no more headphone plug. What do you guys think?
Meh.
I think we're at a point now where they're trying to figure out what Steve Jobs did that made Apple so successful for so long. And, obviously he was a visionary on top of being an asshole. And visionary outweighs asshole, apparently, until you make 19,000 documentaries about yourself. And sure, he pushed the boundaries. He did all these crazy things. And they're trying to figure out what other things they can do. But people use iPhones for music. They use their phones regardless for music. And losing the headphone, that's a pretty bold step. I'm genuinely curious to see how it works out for him.
Interesting thing here. I mean, he was the visionary of, just pushing the boundaries and taking away things that in 2 years obviously disappeared for most things. I can't even think off the top of my head, switching to only Wi-Fi, not using flash, stuff like that. But true audiophile, he's probably rolling in his grave thinking that he can't plug in a cord into his headphone jack, which is the best music quality.
I know they've got the dongle, which is obviously a fun word, that goes through the lightning adapter so you can plug a headphone in. But I just can't imagine what kind of DAC that uses. And
you can't charge with that too, right? You can't charge your phone and listen through the headphones. I don't think that's going to be... Because it takes the lightning plug.
All right, so anyone out there that knows basic hardware engineering, here's your $1 million idea.
I think one of our interns is on that.
I'm sure this is being stolen as I speak, but I don't think it'll be too long before there's a lightning adapter that goes off to a second lightning and a headphone jack. Headphone jack is low voltage. That's not going to get in the way. How did this turn into a technical show so far? I don't know.
Love it.
But we're going to talk more about how people actually use things. Headphones are needed, especially for people like myself that have spent ridiculous amounts of money on headphones that they already own. I'm not giving that up for a pair of $60 bullshit Bluetooth earbuds that you're going to lose one of anyway.
Although, Apple put out the AirPod, not the earbud.
Should have been the earbud.
Should have been the earbud.
Pour some out for my homie.
$160 Bluetooth headphones, no wire connection between the two. So they're going to be lost within 3 seconds.
I saw a picture of them, and I just lost them immediately in my mind. I saw them, and I'm like, I'm going to lose these right away.
And you would think there'd be a good market for replacing one of them for when you lose just one. But that's not the way Bluetooth pairing works. They have to be on the same frequency. So that is just...
Nightmare.
Yeah. And good luck finding a store that'll go ahead and offer any kind of insurance that covers lost earbuds.
$160 earbuds that probably are pretty shitty.
I can't imagine the quality is very good. And
I've already seen myself in line at Five Below buying their brand. I'm like, all right, going to lose these. Going to get the Five Below version.
Just play it by ear. And I also see people that don't understand how anything works technologically wise, which is most people that use Apple, let's be honest. Oh, awesome. I'm going to spend the extra money on these earbuds that are Bluetooth. I can leave my phone here while I do stuff around the house. And they will very quickly learn the limited range of Bluetooth connectivity, which is not particularly strong.
I'm envisioning the phone call from my mother at like 9 p.m. on a Saturday. What's Bluetooth? I can't listen to my Alan Jackson tape. Even though it's clearly on her phone and she's streaming it, it's still the Alan Jackson tape.
Well, how else does music come?
Exactly.
Records aren't a thing anymore, Chris.
I'm so sorry.
With the times. So, I don't know. I've already heard initial buzz from a lot of people that are not necessarily on the forefront of technology, are very turned off by this concept. I've had more people ask me about my Android phone, which I've been a huge fan of, because I think that Apple products are, quite frankly, terrible. Not just as products, but also as a value, especially at this point. People are already asking me about it, and I don't know, I'm curious how this shakes out.
I have the iPhone 6 right here. I'm right in line for being able to upgrade here. I'm just going to replace my battery. That's all I'm going to do in this. I'm not getting a new phone. Nothing surprised me here.
Like, I'm Team Apple. I always have been. I don't envision myself leasing. And I guess the reasoning for it, they're saying, is because of the added speaker, right? They're saying we're that that's what they're saying.
Yeah, you get stereo audio out of it, which is great. But who really uses their phone as a speaker other than showing your drunk friends a YouTube clip that they probably don't even care that much about in the first place at the bar at midnight?
A little less cupping your hand around the edge to make it like a speaker,
Yeah, I mean, especially since, Beats Pill and all their... JBL's got a really good line of speakers that go... There's so many options for actually listening to music. Personally, I'm a Sonos guy, so when I'm around the house, that's how I use my music. There's just so many options that really it's just too little too late as far as I'm concerned. And as far as big reveals go, I think they're going in the wrong direction. But I guess time will tell. I mean, they've dodged a lot of bullets. But then again, at the same time, Apple is not infallible. They've had so many things that have failed and just kind of got swept under the rug. Who remember those iMac computers that were like multicolored with the old CRT monitors? Everything was built into
one. I saw a movie the other day with like an office littered with those, and I was like, "Oh, that worked." And I bet you the director was like, "Yeah, let's do this. We're gonna look so cutting edge and awesome."
And you know what? For the 3 weeks they shot those scenes, they were cutting edge and awesome.
You're damn right.
But 3 weeks in one day, not so much.
And when the movie came out 2 years later.
Yeah, it's... Oh, shoot, it takes time to produce things? Fuck, we are not ready for this.
But for the record, I think Apple is closer to Microsoft than it is to Google these days. I think they're kind of on the tail end of their good fortune and their hard work. I don't think they've really recovered since Jobs died. So.
Yeah, but not only that, they're not advertising like they used to. Speaking of Microsoft, the Zune was a better product than the iPod, but it failed because Apple really marketed and had that cool factor. They had those commercials with the silhouettes dancing around and whatever it may be, but they've lost a lot of that luster. And let's be honest, Android's caught up. Apple had a big advantage because they had so many apps that were just on Apple, but I don't know. I think it's at the end of the rope. So moving on to what I initially bumped out of the number one spot, we're going to stay in the phone app world. Instagram has announced a huge new feature, Zooming, which is one of those things that I forgot wasn't a feature. I know early on I tried to Zoom one time, it didn't work, and I just said, all right, guess it doesn't do that, and moved on with my life. I want you guys to tell me exactly how it's going to impact your lives and the better.
Well, I've always kind of wanted it, but now that I have it, I'm looking at these, Instagram pictures and Zooming, and I'm just thinking, wait, this is just for creepers. All I want to do, all these people want to do is, zoom in on this camel toe.
Good save, Jack.
I use Instagram to post stolen memes from Twitter, so using the live camera really has no bearing on my life.
I'll be honest, I probably use Instagram more for stalking than the rest of you guys. My Instagram follows is pretty much people that are hysterical, people that I genuinely care what they're doing, and people that I find insanely attractive.
You know what? I think perfect time. Follow at Shower Beer Pod.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
We're on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you can Zoom our pictures now.
As soon as we post one.
Yeah.
But I have never even thought to use the Zoom feature on Instagram since, maybe the first week or so. I don't see this really impacting my life a whole lot. But,
I learned about it today in the pre-show meeting when you told me about it. And it's exciting.
Well, good. I'm glad that your life has already been brought to the better. So we'll go ahead and keep moving right along with that said. This week was also the launch of the Rob Lowe roast. I didn't necessarily think that Rob Lowe needed to be roasted, but I still enjoyed it. Not as good as some of the other roasts.
It clearly became the Ann Coulter roast
absolutely.
Instantly. And that's what everyone's talking about. The thing is, she went on there to plug her book only. I don't think she thought they would be as relentless as they were. If you watch any roast over the last 3 years, that's pretty much what it is. I thought it was hysterical. I had very low expectations going into the roast.
Likewise. I had expectations for Pete Davidson, who I'm a big fan of.
Yes. How about Pete's genuine disdain for her?
Oh, yeah, that was strong.
When she went up there and she had one of her tanking jokes about him, he just yelled ha-ha, good joke, loser, or something along those lines.
That was the most I laughed at her entire time on the day's. It was... That was good.
It's great. Obviously, it's all in jest, all in good fun. Peyton Manning throwing a fastball, but being the one person to not make a 9/11 joke at the expense of Davidson. But when you see that there's true hatred and not just oh, ha, David Spade looks like a female version of Ellen DeGeneres.
Which is true.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think the short jokes are a little bit overdone.
Yeah.
There are other things to make fun of him about. Really enjoyed the SNL has released the greatest hits of David Spade. It's called The Best of Chris Farley.
Yeah.
I thought that was a strong hit.
And the thing is, too, it's like you said about Pete Davidson, the roasts are now more launch pads for young comedians. Like, you saw Hannibal a couple years ago really take off after his. Jeselnik, too.
And Schumer.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, overall, I thought it was a pretty solid roast.
I was glad to see him toss Jimmy Carr in there. I was a little disappointed by Jeff Ross, to be honest with you. I mean, he's really, obviously, that's what he's built his career around.
He has one job, and he mailed it in.
Yeah, it just, I was hoping for something a little bit more innovative, I guess. But, it was solid. Nothing wrong with that. I like Nikki Glaser a lot. I think that she did a good job of taking the punches as well.
Great sport. Just like, Rob and her were both great sports about taking their jokes. Which, Ann Coulter, not at all.
Which made it not fun.
That made it more fun for me.
Absolutely. Watching her stone face the jokes that she realized what she walked into.
And, here's the thing. Compare her to, The Situation a few years ago. So The Situation, obviously, this is the height of the Jersey Shore.
Sure.
He was the brunt of a lot of jokes. And he smiled at least, and he took them. And then when he went up there and he bombed, I think Ross came and saved him. It was all right, you're trying. Ann Coulter, had no business being there, and no one was willing to save her. Bit.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the roast of a now presidential nominee.
Was that the Trump roast?
Yeah, the Trump roast, absolutely. Which boggles my mind that that's a thing that exists. A Comedy Central roast of a presidential nominee, but, so be it. Apparently, I don't know how many people remember that roast. Jeselnik made some really tough jabs at him. One of which being that the biggest difference between him and Michael Douglas from Wall Street was that no one would be sad when Donald Trump gets cancer, which is a pretty fucked up joke. But he also made another joke earlier in the roast where he said, you're such a good sport for coming up here and making a joke yourself on this roast and on other shows and in the casino industry. And apparently he got more angry about that joke than the cancer one. Because he doesn't care about debilitating diseases.
Well, maybe the one that's actually true is what he cares about.
Yeah, exactly, right? Which really speaks volumes about him, but that's a whole different podcast. Last thing that I'll say, and then you guys can kind of go and whatever else you have. I thought that Jewel was surprisingly good. And boy, she looks smoking hot.
Yeah.
That dress did her a lot of favors.
I actually, big Howard Stern fan, and she was on the birthday show, and she's been on quite a few times. Talk about, Peyton Manning, didn't write his own jokes, obviously, but Jewel clearly wrote that.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
she writes a lot of songs like that, mostly tailored toward, the Howard Stern demographic and all that, but, that was a great little song.
Yeah, for someone that I had no idea why she was there in the first place.
Right.
Pleasant surprise.
I like the... how they brought Peyton Manning and Rob Lowe together, about the tweet when
I'd forgotten
when he was
going
to retire or whatever when he hurt his neck.
I remember when it happened at the time.
I do too, but
he's kind of brushed aside, Rob
exactly.
Lowe is an asshole. Huh. But he's also in Westbury, so gets a pass.
Exactly.
Thank you, Sam Seaborn.
That's right. So moving on to Peyton Manning, one of the big jokes was about him and Tom Brady. Awesome transition in Tom Brady, who is making news apparently for taking the NFL badge off of his helmet. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, so as was noticed in the preseason, pictures surfaced of Tom Brady wearing his helmet, training camp, and preseason games. I don't know if he was actually in games, but they saw that of all the players, he was the one who did not have an NFL badge on his helmet. So he had somebody, maybe the deflator, as they call him, take off the badge of the NFL. NFL is crazy about their equipment. And
he'll probably get a uniform violation fine for
there's got to be something in there.
He's obviously pissed off from this, almost 2 year now violation of the
it's definitely a big pissing match
Absolutely
with Goodell, no doubt about it. And I'm sure there's a uniform violation there. I'm sure one of our interns, Jessica, if you could look that up for me, that'd be awesome.
I feel like the NFL has given the Patriots enough breaks over the years. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but the fact that Goodell destroyed all of the tapes that they uncovered from the when they were recording. I mean, Lord knows, I wish I knew what was on those tapes. I really do.
Although, you know what my favorite quote about that is? I want to say it was Lawrence Taylor when they talked about filming the signals and everything, and somebody asked him about it. He goes, "Motherfucker, I don't know my signals. So how the hell do you expect me to know their signals?"
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I mean, Belichick's a known scumbag. I feel like pretty much everything they get, they deserve. 4 games seems crazy for what it was officially lobbied against. But overall, I'm sure he deserves it for something else that he did or was a part of. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things where
it's
they're
funny, though.
shoehorning in a punishment wherever they can get it in.
It's funny because when the offseason hit, they were like, oh, by the way, Brady still may be eligible to get suspended. And we all just kind of laughed and shrugged it off. And then it happened.
Right.
And he's not fighting it. I'm like,
and now it's still happening.
Oh, so he's really getting suspended. Like, when it got dropped the first time, I was like, okay, they're done.
Normally that is, yeah.
And a certain member of this podcast may have put a bet on Tom Brady to win the MVP this year, but I'm thinking that with antics like this, Goodell's going to keep his blacklist going, and that money might be right in the trash.
I mean, Tom Brady 15-1. Let's say they go 1-3, and then Tom Brady runs the table. I'd say that's pretty good for MVP consideration.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen in a Goodell-run NFL, but hey, I'm not one for conspiracy theories either. So speaking of quarterbacks, Troy Aikman is in the news with some kind of beef with Skip Bayless.
So, as you know, Skip Bayless left ESPN, joined Fox Sports 1, or Fox Sports in general. He has a new show, similar format as First Take. A story came out that Troy Aikman doesn't want... They're beefing pretty much, and it all stems back from... Well, Troy Aikman wasn't a fan of Skip coming to the network, apparently. Skip Bayless has a Dallas background. He's from Dallas. He used to write for one of the local papers. One of the problems is Skip Bayless accused, losing my train of thought here. He accused Troy Aikman of being gay in 2009. And a lot of people thought it was just like a big publicity stunt, but actually Troy didn't like it. Troy obviously works for Fox as well. He's been like their lead color guy for probably 15, 20 years.
Well, why has he got to be colored?
I know. Sorry. All lives matter.
And he's done a solid job, too.
A lot of people think it's a work, though. They think it's just to drum up more publicity for his show. Fox Sports 1 actually carries terrible ratings. Their show with Whitlock and Cowherd gets like less than 50,000 viewers, which is sad because they're two strong personalities. Yeah. But I honestly think it's more of a work just to try to drum up interest in Stephen A's new show, or not Stephen A, Skip's new show.
Stephen A with Kellerman. Which I like. I hate Bayless, and I mean, I heard about this a couple years ago, where trying to say he was gay, all that. I think that's despicable, and I think there's probably a little bit more to this than the Vin Diesel Rock, here together, whatever.
Yeah, there could be genuine disdain between the two, considering their Dallas backgrounds. He probably covered the team,
or maybe they're gearing up for a showdown at WrestleMania.
I would pay good money to watch Troy
Aikman murder Skip Bayless.
That's right. It's funny because WrestleMania was in Dallas last year. They definitely missed it by a year. Can you imagine that at Cowboy Stadium?
Do over.
Bring it back. Bring it back to Jerry World.
I think Aikman would jump from the top rope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Flying elbow drop.
Oh, yeah, he would absolutely.
He's still in decent shape.
He'd come out in the full Shawn Michaels HBK get up.
Oh, that'd be so strong.
We need a Photoshop.
I would wear that jersey. That should be...
Wait. If he wore assless chaps, would he be playing into that Skip Bayless, maybe he's gay thing?
So, like, Skip Bayless loses the match, but in the end proves his point. And he's the moral victor of the match.
Yeah, loses more than just the match. We need to get an intern on that Photoshop, by the way. Who's in graphics, Frank? All right, cool. So we are rapidly approaching the start of this season. So we're obviously going to talk some football. All time. So let's go ahead and just break this down by division. So we're going to start in the AFC North. I know that this is a division that is very near and dear to Chris's heart, much less so to mine. So go ahead and plead your case, buddy.
Well, I am a avid Steelers fan. I am predicting the Steelers to win the division.
Now, I'm a Primanti Brothers fan, a recent convert. Cannot get behind the Steelers on this one, but go ahead.
It's okay. It's a hell of a sandwich, and they're a hell of a team. Steelers, won the division last year. Actually, no. snuck in as a wild card last year, played in the divisional round against the Cincinnati Bengals. AFC North to me is pretty much...
That was a weird schedule shakedown at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of fun to watch.
It was. Pittsburgh had a guaranteed walk-in if they had just beat the Ravens with the third-string quarterback, but of course they can't do that, so they had to fight and claw to make the playoffs. But no, as for going into this season, though, I mean, obviously they're going to lose Le'Veon Bell for the first 3 games, but they lost him for a few games last year. D'Angelo Williams filled in nicely. Mm-hmm. Martavis Bryant out for the year. Can't really rely on him, but I mean, Antonio Brown's commanding double teams. You're looking at Sammy Coates, Marcus Wheaton are coming to their primes a little. Like, I'm not really worried. They have one of the better offensive lines of football. Not worried about the offense. Defense is solid. Obviously, one of the running jokes with the Steelers for the longest time was, oh, they have an old defense. They have an old defense. Well, like, no one old is there anymore. They have literally one of the youngest defenses in the NFL. So I think they're going to be just good enough to hold off the Ravens and Bengals. The Browns are obviously the Browns.
Well, obviously. So I agree with absolutely everything you said, but I feel like this team just screams tragedy.
You bastards.
Something's going to happen to crush your spirits. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I want to go scandal based on moral character of the team, but it's just been done over and over again with the Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, how many more people can get busted for weed? You know?
The marijuana in Pittsburgh must be phenomenal if these idiots just keep getting busted for it.
It's not a Primanti Brothers, so I don't know about it.
Maybe that's why they're so popular out there.
Yeah, that's right. So I do not think that the Steelers are going to take the division. I've got them, spoiler alert, as a wild card. I've got Bengals taking it.
And they won it last year.
Yeah, I back up Yarny on that. The Cincinnati Harambes I have winning the division.
I like what they're doing. I think that they're going to gel a little bit more this year. I think that they're going still on the up and up. Browns are the Browns. Ravens.
So let me just chime in there. I actually do have the Ravens as a sneak-in wild card team this year. I honestly think besides my disdain for the Bengals, I feel like Marvin Lewis doesn't have control of the team anymore. Especially after last year when Burfict and Pac-Man Jones just pretty much blew up in the playoff game and just kept getting personal fouls. I feel like he's losing the locker room a little, and I think Baltimore had so many injuries. I think they're going to come back strong with a really soft schedule, and they might win 9-10 games and sneak in as a wild card team. And honestly, if that happened, would it surprise you? Joe Flacco and Harbaugh coming back together, sneaking in.
It would surprise me.
Would it? Okay.
You got Suggs was their only real defender last year, coming off of an Achilles. That's at least one full year. Flacco toward the end of the season tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Quarterback, you got to stand in the pocket. You can't really stand in the pocket as well with that ACL tear. I mean, I saw last year with Sam Bradford.
I remember him. So, all right.
He may come up.
Fair enough.
Cool. So moving over to the...
So in conclusion, the Browns suck. Last place for everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, who else would it be? I mean, there needs to be multiple injuries to get that bad. So anyway, moving across the pond over to the NFC North, I'm going to guess this is going to be a unanimous decision for everybody. I've got Green Bay taking the division.
Green Bay. I don't see anybody else really in there.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota maybe before.
Minnesota won 9 or 10 last year.
Yeah, and you know what? I
like their coach. I like Zimmer. I think he's a
I like
coach.
Minnesota. And I'm sure that we're going to hit on this in a moment, I like that trade that they just made. They gave up a lot, but I think that they plugged a hole that they needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak from experience. If you're rooting for or against somebody or betting on or against somebody, really more than anybody else will watching them. I was never really a fan of Sam Bradford. I know he was coming off 2 ACL tears and was definitely rusty to start. I'm really glad that now I'm not going to have a stroke every time he drops back for a pass.
Let me ask this question. Outside of Brett Favre's turn back the clock miracle year with the Vikings, is this the best quarterback that Adrian Peterson has played with? Think about that. I mean, we're talking Tavares Jackson, Joe Webb,
Young Bridgewater,
who's
like year 2 last year. I mean, Bradford at least is accurate.
He's the most polished and the most capable from that standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done good things.
I mean, his job is pretty much just not to fuck up. That's it. Do your job. Don't fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Laquan Treadwell, who might give him some thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, anytime you have Adrian Peterson in your offense, you're going to be set pretty much. This was probably the year they were going to really start to roll out the offense with Bridgewater. Now you got to dumb it way down. You've had the quarterback 1 week. Got to learn a whole new system. Yeah, it's going to be taking time.
I read a report today that he's in consideration for starting. I mean, obviously simplified playbook at that point, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're going to take as big of a hit as they would have otherwise. I mean, for a team that is looking to win right now, I'm on board with the trade.
You have to capitalize on Adrian Peterson in the last couple of years of his prime.
Agreed. No doubt about it.
The one thing, everybody's projecting, I'm obviously seeing this because I'm an Eagles fan, they're projecting that pick to be 26. I think it's going to be a little bit higher than that. Maybe a wild card for the Vikings, but we'll see.
That's where I've got the Vikings. Obviously, they're not going to overtake Green Bay. Green Bay's firing all cylinders. You've got Jordy Nelson back.
I do have the Vikings as a wild card. If we're throwing it out there, I do have them getting in. I mean, they made it last year, they were one field goal away from beating Seattle in the first round.
It's true.
In that negative 20-degree game, that was a fantastic game.
Yeah, we can all pour a little out for Detroit. I mean, Calvin Johnson retiring is just such a dagger to the heart. So they went from having a stud to rebuilding overnight.
Well, just remember, Barry Sanders retired at, 22?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody wants to play for Detroit.
Must be something in the water in Michigan.
Must be.
Vacation home in Flint. And then the Bears are just, I don't think they know what they're doing at this point. I mean, they're trying to find themselves.
Jeremy Langford, he's something. Moving on.
All right, so back over to the AFC East. I think this is probably another unanimous
I got
coming out. I mean, Patriots.
Yeah.
Who cares about the first 4 games?
12-4, 13-3. I think they're going to do no matter what.
And they can probably steal one of those first 4 games anyway, just because.
I think they'll probably end up going 2-2.
I don't see that as being surprising in the least. I'm going to toss this out there. I absolutely loathe the Patriots. But, man, Bill Belichick's a hell of a coach. Scumbag of the century, but he can coach his ass off. Their scouting department is the best in the league. They continually make good pickups out of nothing, and they'll find a way because that's what they do.
So, quick thing, they ran the most twin tight end sets last year. Obviously, Gronk had a big part of that, but they like to run twin tight end sets. Well, they went out and signed Martellus Bennett, who 6'5", freak athlete.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a pairing.
The last time they had 2 tight ends, they had Aaron Hernandez before he decided to be a gangbanger.
No longer a tight end, if you will.
Of course. But I mean, that offense was scary good with those twin tight ends.
Sure.
If Bennett and Gronk can stay healthy, Patriots offense can be scary again.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Miami has a strong year. I don't have them in the playoffs, but I think that they go in the right direction. The Jets, you never know what the hell's going on with those guys.
Know with the Jets. I still don't really love Tannehill. Not crazy about him.
I mean, here's the thing. Adam Gase is a pretty good quarterbacks coach. He helped Cutler cut his interceptions down a lot the last couple of years. He's their head coach now. They're really hoping he has some type of effect on Tannehill. I just don't think Tannehill has it at this point.
I think Forte has stuff off in the gas, though. I think that he opens that up.
For the Jets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he helps them out. He can take a little bit of the load off of Tannehill. So, but at the same time, it's the Jets, and I mean, what expectation do you really have other than?
And then you got the Bills. I think Rex was right up there with my first coaches fired. I mean,
yeah.
I don't see him doing.
But I do love me some Tyrod Taylor.
I know you do.
I know it is in your heart. Tyrod Taylor.
Well, you've always been a fan of alliteration, so that helps.
Yes, that's something to do with it. But no, I remember watching Tyrod back up Flacco in a preseason game a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he lit it up. I mean, running, throwing. I'm like, this guy needs a chance somewhere.
When he's on, he's on.
Bill signed him just as a camp guy with no real intention for him to push for the job. And then they realized almost anybody's better than E.J. Manuel. And Tyrod just ran away with it. And honestly, I hope they block for him. I hope he stays healthy. And I will be personally rooting for Tyrod Taylor all year long.
Well, not only that, there are so many Bills fans that have stayed loyal through just such heartbreak.
Yeah.
And you want them to have at least a glimmer of hope.
Of course.
So more power to them. Moving over to, I don't know if this is the most interesting or the most depressing entry today with the NFC East.
9 wins gets it.
Shedding a single tear over here.
Yeah, easily. So, Jack, you want to go ahead and talk about your love for the Eagles, or you just want to take a pass till next year?
I mean, I'm actually ecstatic right now. Sam Bradford trade just went through. I was definitely on the boat for, starting Sam Bradford for a year or two. But hey, guess what? People get feelings when you make $12 million a year. I'm glad we got him out of town. I honestly thought we were just going to do Bradford all year, and
got good value for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a first-round pick when we got rid of that pick to get Wentz. I'm really excited to see Wentz. I have Eagles going 6-10. I think that's a little bit generous, but I'm definitely really excited to see the Jim Schwartz defense.
Yes.
And Dorian Green Beckham. And just to see a nice new rookie quarterback.
Rookie quarterbacks are fun. I remember, of course, I'll make this about Pittsburgh. Ben's rookie year was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. He didn't lose a game to the AFC title game. But it's just cool watching your quarterback grow over the years. Like, it really is. I think Wentz has all the tools to be successful in the NFL. I don't care what school he went to. Joe Flacco went to Delaware. Big Ben went to Miami of Ohio. Scouts get it. I really think LA dropped the ball by going with Goff.
I'll get into that later, but yeah.
But no, just in regards to the Eagles, like you said, I just wanted to chime in on that Jim Schwartz defense. Like, Fletcher Cox got paid. I hope he still brings that high energy motor because he's a hell of a defensive lineman. And they have arguably the two best safeties in the NFL, like tandem.
Yes,
right.
I'm super excited for that's McLeod, right?
McLeod, who they got from the LA, and then Jenkins, who was amazing.
By the end of the year, we'll have no offensive tackles. Lane Johnson out for 10 games at some point, not yet. And Jason Peters, degenerative back issue is what they're saying, and we all know that's great with an offensive lineman.
So you had them at 6-10,
6-10,
which is probably not good enough to win the division.
Sounds like a wild card to me.
Sounds like
I think they're gonna miss by a hair.
So 7-9, who's winning the division for you?
I got the Washington D.C. Grudens for a second year in a row.
Really? Okay.
Okay. I went with the Giants. I think the offense is going to get better. I think Sterling Shepard's a nice addition. The defense is solid. It's not great. It's all about O-line. If they can block for Eli and they can run a little, I think the Giants would go maybe win. I mean, I'm not like thinking it's going to be they're going to run away with it. I think the NFC East will be decided week 17 probably for like the 7th year in a row.
Right.
But I think the Giants just end up on top.
I mean, for those who don't follow the NFC East, pretty much the Giants will go the exact opposite of what you think. If you think they're just going to be dog shit god awful, they end up winning a Super Bowl. And every time they've come in with great expectations, they've really just shat the bed. So, the Giants are always that one that just hangs out there.
Another thing for the Giants for me is they finally moved on from their coach, Coughlin. So
yes.
I feel like a little bit of new energy with the team.
That's probably worth 2 to 3 wins right there.
Yeah, for real. I think that's going to have something to do with it.
So I think this is the first time we've got 3 differing picks. I'm actually coming with the Cowboys.
Dak attack. Dak attack.
I will back this up with absolutely nothing, but I think that he's actually going to come in, do a solid job. They've got some good weapons.
Absolutely.
They've got good pieces together.
Best line in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That goes a long way. That's what made DeMarco Murray so powerful before he went to the Eagles and shat the bed. But honestly, you know why I feel good about the Cowboys? Because Cowboys fans are depressed.
They are.
And they get the opposite of their mood all the time. Because they're always so overinflated assholes. And they always stink. And I just feel bad for them at this point.
Well, here's the thing.
I really do. Never feel bad for a Cowboys fan.
Here's the thing. Whether they go 10-6 or 6-10, one thing never changes. Dez dropped it. Every time he dropped it. The ball moved. It wasn't a catch. Get over it.
But you know what? I loved so much giving him a hard time for such a long time. I was really excited when he entered the league and turned to be good. Because it's so much easier to hate a player that's good than one that's bad. But he realistically has matured as a player and as a person.
Talking Dez?
I'm talking Dez. He really has grown. He's not that asshole that refuses to carry pads and all those other shenanigans he pulled early on. He's taken on a quieter role. He's actually been a better teammate. I'm not going to say I'm rooting for him, but at the same time, like I don't dislike him anymore.
I mean, coming into the league, getting drafted by the Cowboys, it was delicious for an Eagles fan to hear that his mom was a, let's just say, worked the corners, and his dad was a pimp. I mean, you really...
Match made in heaven.
You watch these games, and when they get just a little bit of, uneasiness, he just kind of goes off one way or the other. And, I mean, you look at him on the sidelines, nobody ever really listens to those fiery brand guys, and they're just kind of like, oh, nodding along. It's good for TV, but I don't know if it's good for the team. I'm not as convinced as you are.
I mean, this is kind of just a gut feeling, to be honest with you. I mean, let's be honest. You can take a dice and toss it in the air, and that'll probably do a better job of predicting the NFC East right now than any of us can, because it's just such a shit show.
So none of us picked the Eagles, so they're going to end up winning it, right?
Seems pretty likely.
Sounds good.
I'd love it.
Yeah. So the random number generator gets this one. Moving back over to the AFC South. This is near and dear to my heart. I was born in India. I'm a diehard Colts fan, and I've gone ahead and picked them to come out of the division. But honestly, I don't feel great about it. And I'm going to tell you why. One, everyone's writing off the difficulty they had last year. Oh, they'll be fine. Which I sure as hell hope is right. They've got some good weapons. They've got some young wide receivers. Chris and I were talking earlier about how high we are in Dante Moncrief. I'm still on board with that. Go ahead.
No, to me, Dante Moncrief is this year's Allen Robinson. That player that comes out of nowhere that you kind of know his name, and all of a sudden it's like, he's a really good receiver.
And I hope you're right, because I think that T.Y. Hilton is an absolutely elite number 2 wide receiver.
Yes.
He's slotted as number 1 right now, where he's done a fine job. I'm not saying that he's been disappointed, but he's not an elite wide receiver.
No, and I think Moncrief probably learned a lot from Andre Johnson last year in the time they had together.
No doubt about it.
And I think he's going to take that to the next. I think he's going to take his game to the next level this year.
Philip Dorsett's a young wide receiver. He would be a great number 3 wide out. So I'm on board with all that. I think losing Fleener hurts us. Hopefully Dwayne Allen can pick it up and just kind of run. I don't know who is going to take the number 2 spot on the depth chart when it all shakes out, but someone's going to take that spot as well. I'm on board with Luck just having a bad year and with being a little hurt last year and kind of shaking it off. Not a huge fan of our O-line or D-line right now, but they're serviceable. I'm going to go with that. What worries me the most is I really think the Texans are going to have a strong year.
I mean, I was just going to play devil's advocate here. Other than adding Luck, and I mean, no, that's not a small thing, adding Luck back this year, what is there really different than last year, which was a shit show of a season?
Not a whole lot, and that's, I mean, just another year older.
You're just banking on guys like we said, guys like Moncrief. You're banking on guys taking their game to the next level. But unfortunately, you're also banking on Antonio Cromartie being your number 1 cornerback right now, who you just signed off the street.
Yeah.
And Devontae Davis is a little banged up. Mm-hmm. The defense is scary. I mean, they're gonna have to win games in shootouts.
Yeah.
And
they're built to do that to a certain extent. Frank Gore's got nothing left in the tank. This is probably the last year before he gets taken out the
Frank Gore, my favorite Eagle of all time.
For one day. I'm still, on the record as saying, like, granted Pagano did have leukemia and everything, but they really should have kept Bruce Arians. I mean, they're really still reeling from not having Bruce Arians as their coach. He was way better at the time, and still a way better coach. Honestly, Pagano is right up there with one of my first coaches to be fired.
So Bruce Arians was the Steelers' offensive coordinator for 7 years.
Uh-huh.
And when Tim Tebow prayed to Jesus and threw the ball 300 yards to Demaryius Thomas that one game, apparently it was our offensive coordinator, Bruce Arians' fault, and the team and him mutually decided to part ways. I was furious. We signed Todd Haley, who was an asshole. And, we've won a playoff game in the last 5 years. So we got that going for us.
So you traded Todd Haley for Bruce Arians with the Cardinals, essentially.
Essentially.
For the record, I have the Texans.
Okay.
Really?
I like Osweiler. Don't love him. Love DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, the defense. I think they take it.
Lamar Miller. All right, so
they've got a strong team that's young, and if they gel, they're a team to be reckoned with.
So I'm going absolute batshit crazy with my pick.
Gotta be Jacksonville.
Not even.
Wow.
I am going absolute batshit crazy. I think the division's similar.
So the San Jose Sharks?
I am going Tennessee Titans. I think 9 or 10 wins does it. Let me give you my reasons.
All right.
Other than the fact that they've gotten rid of their last 3 second-round picks?
Let me tell you,
this
right now.
Is Chris Johnson coming back?
Chris Johnson's not coming back. I love Mariota.
I know you do.
The O-line is good. I think they completely just got rid of their running backs. They signed DeMarco, who's going to be in a power run scheme. Derrick Henry from Alabama, who is going to touch the ball a lot. And they're building up their defense. Dick LaBelle is running the defense. The defense went from laughable to respectable, and I think it's going to push to a top 5 defense this year.
Who's their head coach?
Malarkey.
Does he still have an interim tag by chance?
No, he's there.
Is he? I feel like he may still have interim tag.
I'm just
even starting a season.
So he's coaching for his job. Even the more merrier right there. So I'm going absolute crazy with this pick. Just something I want to see because I was looking at the Colts and the Texans and I'm like, all right, 10-9 wins each. I'm like, all right, well, why can't the Titans do that too? And that's what I went with. And it makes for good podcast material.
I think every one of our predictions hinges on Osweiler.
So let me tell you this right now. This is not going to be one of those podcasts where we just make outlandish predictions. Come December when the Titans are 3-13, I'm going to fucking hear it.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to hear it. We're going to hold each other accountable.
We'll revisit this throughout the season, unless I'm wrong, in which case I'll just burn the notes.
Works for me. Delete the emails.
Whoa, who has ever done that?
All right. So staying south, moving to NFC. There's a clear favorite from last year. What's your guys' thoughts?
I got no change. I still say Panthers. They're getting back Kelvin Benjamin, which I think some people are probably forgetting. Losing Josh Norman, big, not monumental.
Not a deal breaker.
I don't see a crazy change here.
And not only that, I just don't see any of the other 3 teams stepping up to take a better record. I see a grimace over there.
So, outside of the Seattle Seahawks last year, or 2 years ago, no team that has lost the Super Bowl has made the playoffs in the last 8 years.
Okay.
Outside of the Seahawks 2 years ago. I expect that stat to continue.
So let's go ahead and get this on record right now.
Yeah.
Trends like that, I dismiss immediately.
Good. Glad you do. I think a lot of it has to do with getting so close and being discouraged the next year. I think Norman is going to make a difference, losing Norman. I don't think the offense is good at all. I really don't. I mean, I know Kelvin's coming back. You don't know how he's going to be coming back off an ACL. I think Cam's going to regress. I really do.
He's going to regress too. I don't think it's going to be a huge regression.
I mean, it's easy to, regress from 15-1.
Sure. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to make the playoffs again. I think they're going to fall. I think they're going to stumble.
Not even a wild card.
No playoffs, you're saying?
No. How can I do that when I got Sam Bradford and the Vikings in there? I mean, come on. We're talking logic here.
Well, all right.
Very well then.
I don't know if this is laughable or not, but I got Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I love Tampa Bay's defense. I love Winston. I love Evans. I think they're a young team that's on the up and up. I think they have to win some of their NFC South games early to set the tone. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think Tampa is one of the teams that beat Carolina last year. I think they were the one that broke the streak. Was it them or Atlanta?
Can we get an intern on this?
I'd have to fact check that.
Jamie, if you can hop on that, please.
Jamie or Jameis? Because I know Jameis is going to tell you.
Well, no, Jamie's the intern.
We don't have Jameis Winston as an intern.
I don't know. I got Tampa.
Yet.
Yeah.
So I've got Carolina. I think that New Orleans is just going in the wrong direction.
Carolina.
I
have Atlanta in the wild card.
Okay,
really?
They had a very strong start last year. I really like Dan Quinn. I think they're going to make a little bit of a step, not quite enough to knock off the Panthers, but I see them in the wild card.
I think you see Devontae Freeman go backwards and lose his job to Coleman. Not necessarily the official start, but I think you see a lot of touches go over to him.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
If you look at last year, as much of as he was a stud weeks,
it was a five-week stretch, right?
4 through 9, 5 through whatever it was. At the end of the year, he became very mortal. I remember that very clearly because he was a fantasy stud for me and shit the bed in the playoffs.
Happens to the best of them.
Same here.
That's right. I'm the best of us.
How about Drew Brees? We're talking about saying he's getting a 2-year extension at like 38 years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, he asked for the 4-year, $100 million. Clearly, just a bargaining chip. But 2 years, you know what? As much as he did for that city, he brought him a Super Bowl. Coming out of Katrina when they were just...
That was an awesome story.
Yeah, well, for non-Colts fans.
Great story. I mean, they're not going to win anywhere with Drew Brees. They need a nice rookie quarterback contract to get their cap back under shape.
There was rumors in the offseason that they were thinking about trading Brees and trying to move up for one of the quarterbacks this year just to save like the $25 million cap hit, but obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Brandon Cooks does. Obviously, he's got some talent there. But overall, I mean, the team just doesn't have a whole lot going for it
Absolute
right now.
cap hell.
Yeah, so it's I mean, they don't even have one shot yet left. They're in rebuild mode at this point.
Yeah,
they're in take the victory lap, have Drew Brees sell some seats, sell some tickets, and let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. And keeping it moving, let's move over to the AFC West. Obviously, the Broncos came out and won Super Bowl last year, but they lost Peyton Manning, who really didn't contribute a ton to the offense. Really more of a placeholder and a figurehead. But he was a leader in the locker room. There's no doubt about that. I'll be honest. I'm going to go right out there and say this. I don't have the Broncos coming out of the AFC West.
I don't either. I don't know who's going to
I don't have them even in the wild card.
No.
I like the Chiefs. I think that they're on the up and up.
I'm going Raiders. Love that young core. Love Derek Carr. I mean, they're going to be a fun team to watch. Bring that Super Bowl back to Las Vegas. No, it's not Super Bowl. But
I'm not going to argue with you because I've got the Raiders in the wild card.
I have the Raiders winning the division.
Okay.
I think in a universe where J.J. Watt doesn't exist, Khalil Mack is the best defensive player in football.
Other than Fletcher Cox, you mean?
He's in the conversation. He's in the conversation for sure. I actually do have the Broncos as the playoff team. They lost nobody from that defense, which was historically great.
There's rumors that they're shopping to lead.
I saw that. But as of right now, he's on the team.
Yeah,
and
but the other thing is he's one big infraction away from one of those patented Goodell token suspensions.
Sure.
And, the accumulation of the flagrant fouls, right?
Yeah, I mean, apparently, whatever you do, you get what Goodell thinks you deserve from all of your past transgressions.
Which is what they were actually going into the courts for this year was, trying to get Goodell off of exactly that.
So he's one bad fart away from a 6-game suspension. Yeah.
So
that could be
better not crop dust.
Nobody has the Chargers near the playoffs, right?
No, I've got I actually have Mike McCoy as my first coach fired.
Okay.
I think that I don't know if we're gonna get into I guess we're getting the first coach fired.
Well,
as we
do
go.
We have all as we go?
Well, I mean, you already mentioned yours.
Who was yours?
I actually haven't.
I thought you did.
No.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive right into it because I'm ready to talk about it.
All right. Well, my first coach fired. I really want to say Jeff Fisher, but I don't think he's going to be the first fired. I'm going Caldwell.
Okay.
I think
what's your logic?
I mean, they lost Megatron. I don't really know what's going on with
them. So just
Scapegoat. I've never liked him as a coach. I mean, that absolute blank stare at all times. I don't really know if he does anything on the sidelines.
That works for Belichick, by the way.
Works for Belichick.
Belichick is a genius.
It worked for Andy Reid, even though I fucking hated it. Jim
Caldwell. Press conferences.
I've never liked...
We got to do better.
Never liked Caldwell.
No shit.
My first coach canned is first-year coach with a team, but I'm going Chip Kelly.
Okay.
I feel like there's going to be so many issues on and off. The owner and the GM obviously don't know what the hell they're doing. They let Jim Harbaugh go for pretty much no reason, which was literally one of the dumbest things ever. Then they hired Jim Tom Sola to be their coach, who looked like some out-of-work bodybuilder. I don't know. I just think Chip Kelly, they're gonna realize it was a bad idea halfway through the year, and I think they're gonna fire him in season.
And I mean, being an Eagles fan, obviously, I saw one of probably the most actually disappointing seasons ever. By the end of the season, the games weren't even fun to watch. Whether they were winning, losing, or close, I still kind of just didn't even really watch the game. I was kind of dead inside all season. And to hear him, after pushing out Howie Roseman of the GM, going to San Francisco and saying, "Oh, I just want to get somewhere where I can just coach." Come on, man.
I'm pretty sure when Chip Kelly went to interview for the 49ers, he just showed them the game film when they beat the Patriots last year. They're like, "Oh, what about the other game?" He's like, "Nah, this is it. This is my reference. Look what we did."
As I mentioned, I've got Mike McCoy as the first fired. I think that on top of the obvious just disappointment of what the Chargers are versus what expectations are, and really, honestly, what they could be, Phillip Rivers is one of those quarterbacks that can win any game.
Yep.
But doesn't win so many games.
He's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks that wear a Steelers uniform. I have always been a big Phillip Rivers fan.
I think that the Chargers look really stupid after this whole Bosa thing.
Yeah.
And that they're going to try to look into a rebranding. And when you talk rebranding, head coach is part of that package. He's been there for 3 years now. He came in 2013. So it's not like he hasn't had a chance to come in, make real changes, and prove himself. And they haven't been successful.
And they're still trying to move to LA.
Yeah. And, if they're trying to push for that, then they've got to have the brand. They've got to have something behind it. So I think McCoy goes.
All right.
So moving right along to the final NFC West. So here's gonna be a fun one. I'm just gonna toss it out there. I think it's a safe pick. I'm going Cardinals coming out.
I have the Cardinals as well.
I'm going Seahawks. I got the Cards in the wild card.
So you and I are backwards then.
I think
in the wild card.
I think this is Russell Wilson's year. He's finally had sex with Ciara.
Good for him.
And, yes, they're married.
Tape?
They're married. Probably not. They're married now.
Goodies.
Maybe it's on their iCloud. Who knows? I actually have Russell Hustle and Bustle Wilson as the MVP this year.
Wow. Okay. So
we
it's not your bold prediction, but it is a bold prediction.
Not my bold.
Taking divisions out of it, you could honestly say the Cardinals and Seahawks are probably the two best teams in the NFC. You could Green Bay can throw their name in there too, but they just happen to play in the same division. I think whoever wins 12 or 13 games, the other one's winning 11 or 12. It's going to be neck and neck.
I'm with you absolutely.
Carson Palmer has to stay healthy for Arizona.
Stay healthy.
That's a given.
Yeah,
that he has to. Not
that
he will.
last year,
Not that
the
he
year
will, but
before,
he
where he missed some time and they were still managing games.
He had an ACL 2 years ago.
Is that what it was?
And then this past year in the playoffs went the full Delhomme.
So I've always been a big Palmer fan ever since the Ocho Cinco Hujimama team.
Yeah.
Back with what was his name, Henry, before he did
Chris
dumb
Henry.
shit. Yeah.
R.I.P. Chris Henry.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
I've always liked Carson Palmer. I'm glad to see that he's actually in a position where he's
Troy
hopefully
Polamalu
staying healthy.
always intercepted Carson Palmer. It was
So
fantastic.
I'm sure you're a fan of that.
Well, they were roommates at USC
Oh, that's awesome.
and played on the same team. And I remember their first game against each other, Polamalu picked it off and ran it back for a touchdown, pretty much to seal the game.
And of course, the Steelers have always been dirty against Carson Palmer.
Kimo von Oelhoffen, former Bengal, would never do that to his ex-teammate.
Staying in the West, San Francisco makes me sad just because it's one of those teams where, I think Jerry Rice is the greatest, so I like to like the 49ers, but man, what a train wreck they are right now.
I am all out on anything Chip Kelly and just want to see his career burn to the ground. Go back to high school.
When you think great 49ers receivers, you think Rice, you think Taylor, you think T.O., and you think Quentin Patton. You think Quentin Patton, you think Torrey Smith. Defensive coordinators are freaking out right now.
It's the Big Five.
Yeah, it's the Big Five, And then you figure Vance McDonald down the seam at tight end. What are these guys going to do? Gabbard is going to light them up.
Have they switched Kaepernick over to wide receiver yet?
There just isn't a scheme built for that.
There isn't.
I'm sure that right now there are. I would imagine that offensive coordinate or defensive coordinators are kind of really coming across party lines, so to speak, and are think tanking on ways to beat that threat. But in all seriousness,
Pete Carroll is losing sleep over how he's going to stop Vance McDonald.
And as long as we're on the Niners, we also chose least valuable player, if we want to get into that at all. If Chip Kelly could be least valuable player, I would go for him, but I'm going to go Kaepernick. We're all talking about him right now with the national anthem. He can. I don't totally disagree with him doing what he's doing, but at the end of the day, is he trying to get cut? Was he trying to get cut? Do we all forget that he's actually a backup quarterback, and maybe this was him trying to get his name back out there a little bit? I don't know.
I also don't know. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm not a big. I don't necessarily even know how smart Kaepernick is. I don't know if he thinks that far into things.
He was somewhat eloquent about how he went. I
also don't know who's in his ear, because with these athletes. There's so many people in their ear as far as how they're doing, what they need to do, what they should do. There's just so many voices that without kind of really being there, it's hard to know what's really influencing them. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I've got no real opinion on him one way or the other.
Are we doing least valuable player now?
You can if you want. I don't know. For all I know, Kaepernick's a real cool cat.
Real cool cat. He's the coolest cat. My least valuable player is Jonathan Stewart. He just sucks. He's there. He's there by default. It's like, hey, we're a running team. We're going to get down to the one, and Cam Newton's going to run it in again. Jonathan Stewart, sit there and clap.
So I'm going to go ahead with my least valuable player, and I'm going to just preface this with I was not prepared for this part of the segment.
Good.
I'm going to go ahead and put it with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Who's going to get just violently ill with several sexually transmitted diseases. And
Is that your bold prediction right now?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's not. That's my least valuable player. I just can't stand him. And yeah, I know he's good, and I'm full of shit right now. But just riddled with herpes.
What an asshole.
Hopefully I'll be
Tom
laughing
Brady.
to the bank with that 15-1 odds.
Yeah, you know what? You can take me to dinner with it. Or, I don't know, just buy me a bourbon. I'm pretty easy to please.
We just, I feel like since we didn't talk at all about the LA Rams right now,
I figure we're going to dive directly into that. I've got a bold prediction tied in with that.
Well, we should dive directly. Do we want to dive directly into who we think they're going to be dating? Or is that something?
I think we go bold. I've got a bold prediction. I believe that you might also for the Rams.
I do.
All right, you want to go ahead first?
All right, so I think Jared Goff is going to be an absolute bust.
Is that bold at this point?
It's not bold. That's the start of it.
Okay.
I think Fisher gets fired sometime this season. Stadium's going to be half empty by the end of the season, and we're going to start to question whether or not it was actually a good idea to go to L.A. Because have we even really thought about that yet? Where L.A. fans, they go to the Lakers when the Lakers are good. The Clippers couldn't fill the front row until 3 years ago.
Yep.
Such fair weather LA fans. If you have a hint of anything going wrong, granted you're going to want to be seen at the LA Rams game, but I think end of the season is a half full stadium.
So my bold prediction is actually somewhat in line with that. I believe that the Rams will be so forced down our throats by every marketing power that exists that everyone that's not in LA will become instantly sick of them.
I already am, kind of.
Yep.
Yeah.
See how fast that worked? Bold prediction has already been proven.
Yes.
All right, you put that in the win column. I'm going to go ahead and drop, well, I guess not this microphone, but a different one. I do think that there'll be some controversy where they get some questionable calls that go in their direction.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
Now, you said you weren't a conspiracy theorist. This is a big conspiracy theorist.
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I know what I see.
So, my bold prediction... You said for the entire NFL. I didn't know if this would be LA Rams based.
We're jumping around.
But I actually kind of touched on it. I said huge regression from the Panthers. 8-8, 9-7 maybe, missing the playoffs. I think the offense is stagnant. I think Cam tries to do too much. Stagnant.
Adding that receiver back.
I don't know.
So wait, how can you be stagnant and regress?
Listen,
stagnant's 15-1.
All right.
Bam! Semantically owned.
Well, guess what? They're going to be awful. Awfully worse than last year. And come talk to me when famous Jameis is getting flexed into primetime Sunday night games come November and December.
Hey, man, I know where to find you.
Yeah.
Mike O Mansion.
That's right. It's a duplex in Browntown.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we are predicting... speaking with the Rams, we're going to predict who we think that their two premier players, Goff and Gurley, end up dating first.
So, of course, they're an LA team now. All the celebrities
eyes
are out
on
there.
them.
A lot of pretty women. A lot of eyes on them.
I've heard there's one or two.
One or two. A handful of Kardashians. The
Kardashians go in the basketball direction, though.
I mean...
Oh, is this a...
This is not,
wow.
But there was Reggie Bush back in the day.
There was Reggie
Bush.
Bush.
There was Reggie Bush.
Not Tavon Austin. What's the other Austin?
Miles Austin.
His brother, maybe.
Can we get a fact checker on that?
Fact check on Tavon Austin.
Thomas. Intern.
Is Miles Austin in the league?
He was on the Eagles last year.
That's all I need to know.
Still is actually on the depth chart somewhere.
I don't think he's on the Eagles. I think they cut him mid-season.
That's disappointing. He was good for a minute.
He was. But, like I said, there is room in there. I don't have that on my predictions for either of them. Do you want to start with Jared Goff?
Go for it.
All right. I'm going... I don't even want to pretend to know any of their names. He's going to go with one of the Housewives of Beverly Hills. One of the real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, the real ones. Okay.
Real ones.
0% chance. Give me odds on this bet. I'll take it.
Who are you going for then?
I'm going a completely different direction. I'm going with Sarah Hyland. You probably know her from Modern Family. She's the oldest daughter.
Ooh. Okay.
I feel like she's classier than that, but go ahead.
That's where you're wrong.
I'm going crazy.
All right.
She's fresh on the market. She's a crazy bitch. I'm going Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I knew Taylor Swift was going to be in there somewhere.
It has to happen. She's dating everybody.
She's put her toes in a lot of different ponds.
She has.
She's gotten
really has.
producer. She's gotten all kinds of different actors. I knew someone was going to go for it. I didn't want to go in that direction personally.
She's going to make a run at Case Keenum first.
Well, while we're on Taylor Swift, this is one of my other bold predictions.
All right. A dual bold prediction podcast. We are pulling out all the stops.
You know we're bound for plenty of alumni games out in L.A. I think Taylor Swift mistakes a certain former quarterback for a current quarterback, because we're not going to know who's actually playing. Taylor Swift, by the end of the season, will be dating Mark Bulger.
Mark Bulger! Yes.
You can put that in on the odds on the last one. And I'll take both of those.
Are we going to do our Super Bowl picks, or we don't really care?
I guess we'll end with that.
Maybe, yeah.
The other one, Todd Gurley. I know absolutely
that's right, Todd
nothing about Todd Gurley or his taste in women or anything along those lines.
Good.
So I'm just going to toss a name out there. I'm going Charlie XCX.
Oh, there you go.
Boom clap. Person.
Boom clap.
Hopefully we should give him the boom clap.
So in my pre-show prep, I did a quick Google on Todd Gurley, and he has been dating the same Instagram model since he got drafted.
See, I was thinking video chick, Instagram model would be the way to go. I just don't know any of them.
So
Black China's apparently nailing one of the Kardashians. That's the only one that I know.
So what I assumed was they're going to break up eventually.
Of course. I mean, it's
by definition.
And I literally wrote down some Kardashian.
I was going to go
Rob?
Kardashian. Well,
Do you get Scott Disick with that?
I was going to go Kardashian, maybe one of the Jenner girls, any of 4 of them now.
Yeah, Kylie hasn't done anything lately, right?
Exactly.
She's with Tyga, though, isn't she?
Oh, is she? Oh, yeah. No, I thought Kendall. I don't know.
I don't want to pretend to know their names either.
I know their names from...
Well...
Come to the Shower Mirror podcast. We talk Tyga, Kylie Jenner, and iPhones.
Yeah, we're your number one source for all the Kardashian gossip
that
you're looking for. I'm going to tag it that way, too.
Close second, Iggy Azalea.
Oh, Charlie XCX, good friends. There could be some drama there.
Possible. It's L.A.
You're so fancy, Jack.
You already know. I'm going Amber Rose.
Ooh.
I'm going Amber Rose. I think that's a given.
You're just saying names that you know at this point.
Pretty much. But I think you got to go Amber Rose.
You got to go Amber Rose.
So we're going to have to go ahead and put an inter-office memo out to our intern staff to see who really knows this world, so we can start bringing in some inside information, because we are not equipped for this.
We are not.
So, in the best transition of all time, let's go ahead and move from Iggy Azalea to Super Bowl picks.
Hopefully Iggy Azalea can do the Super Bowl.
You know what? That's probably not that far-fetched, her being one of the 4 people that go out there. She's still topical. She's probably due for another album now, right? She's probably about due for another album, though.
She said one song?
She kind of got, blacklisted when she started, she did some, terrible interviews, and, she started talking about how, the influence of hip-hop.
Well, don't even get us started on her freestyle.
Oh, that was so
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. I don't know the exact video, but I think it was the Breakfast Club. Is that it? Listen to the callers after her. It's an amazing video recommendation right here. Iggy Azalea on the Breakfast Club, and the callers after her freestyle.
Live with her in the video.
And she's sitting right there listening to them.
This sounds like fun homework. So let's go ahead and dive in. Super Bowl picks, where are we at, guys?
I'm going to go rematch of 2 years ago, Pats Seahawks.
Okay.
I have the Steelers, obviously.
Of course.
They've been there 6 times and won it, so why wouldn't they go to another? I got
Sound
Steelers.
logic.
I got Steelers.
Most of those players are gone. But go ahead.
Big Ben, baby. That's all that matters.
Sure.
Steelers, Cardinals. Bruce Arians' revenge game.
Oh.
You know? Oh. I feel like that'd be... It's one of those Super Bowls that's probably not being picked a lot, but if it happened, people are like, oh, I see it. You know what I mean?
That would be a fun Super Bowl, probably. Yeah.
Steelers, Cardinals, first Super Bowl. Not saying bias.
Wait, Super Bowl one? I don't think that's correct.
No, not Super Bowl one. I'm so sorry. Their first matchup, arguably one of the most entertaining Super Bowls ever, with big plays.
All right, fair enough.
It is.
Yeah, that was great. Great Super Bowl, yeah.
And I'm kind of going out of left field here. I'm going Bengals-Packers.
Interesting.
So you got Andy Dalton winning multiple playoff games in one
Yes, I do.
one month period.
Yep.
All right.
So I guess that's the second bold prediction.
That is a bold prediction.
That is what I'm throwing in the cauldron.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis in playoff games.
Mix it on up.
All right.
So that's what I'm got. So if I'm right, then I'll look like a fucking genius. But, I'm not. All right, so now that we've got the Super Bowl picks out of the way, we're going to go ahead and move into our Whiner of the Week. Mine actually ties into the Super Bowl, believe it or not, and it is Panthers coach Ron Rivera, who is bitching and moaning that the NFC champion has to play on the road week 1. Well, no shit, you're playing against the only team that beat you in the Super Bowl, so fucking deal with it. Like, how is that even a...
This has been a tradition for 8 years now. The first game is...
How is this even on the radar of anything? You lost.
Last I checked, you have 8 home games, 8 away games.
Yeah, so why is this even a problem?
So how it works is every year the Super Bowl winner kicks off the next season at home.
Right.
And then NBC goes and tries to find the best actual matchup. Well, you're not going to top the Super Bowl from the year before. So that's just the way it's going to be. A few years ago, somebody had to play the game on the road due to a baseball scheduling conflict.
Right.
I don't remember what team it was, but I feel like that was more of a thing.
Sure.
I want to say that was Oakland. I think they almost had to go a month. Because of
No. Won the Super Bowl?
No, a team won the Super Bowl. No. A team won the Super Bowl, and they had to move. It was Baltimore.
Yeah.
It had something to do with the Orioles in the playoffs or something. It's something came in. Maybe not the playoffs.
You wait one of our interns on this?
Yeah, it was a scheduling issue, but the NFL tried to force their way to have the Orioles move stuff around, and Baltimore had to go on the road, from what I remember.
Even so, it's not like who's Denver's huge rival right now? It's not like there's a really...
Their division has always been pretty good on rivalries, but I don't know. Maybe Ron Rivera just really wants to hang that 15-1 banner, that NFC champions banner, in week 1. Hey Broncos, guess what? We won the NFC.
Yeah,
I mean, it just seems like a pretty bogus thing to bitch about.
We dab when we score touchdowns.
Why is it even on their radar right now?
He's
my whiner of the week, because I just think that's so uncalled for.
Maybe Micah's right. We're already starting to see cracks in the foundation.
I'm telling you.
Bold prediction coming through.
I guess my whiner of the week is Jay Mariotti.
Ooh.
Used to write for Chicago Sun.
Remember him?
Yeah. Wrote for Chicago Sun.
He's gone around the horn back before,
That's pretty much where he got his fame and notoriety. Then he decided to beat his wife.
Right.
Now he writes freelance for San Francisco, I think. Anyway, he was drunk on Twitter, assumingly drunk, and he was talking about how bloggers are losers, and if you don't write in print, you're not worth his time, and they make millions, and then his net worth is not worth millions. And
Twitter, the top guy is Tony Kornheiser even have that kind of money? He's
maybe Tony,
but because he's up there.
Yeah.
Bill Simmons probably has some money.
Simmons is making good money.
Here's the point: Twitter is
obviously.
Twitter is mostly bloggers. I mean, he got ripped immediately.
Who reads him other than blogger?
Well, that's the thing. He was talking about how he's above everyone else, and then someone linked his SoundCloud page where he has these pods where he has less than 6 listens. And
if we happen to get 7 listens, first off, thank you, listeners. Second off, we're better than Jay Mariotti.
Yeah, we can actually
feel better than Jay Mariotti.
We can get Jay Mariotti on the show to tell him how our podcast is better than him.
Just recording this, I feel better than Jay Mariotti.
I feel a lot better than Jay Mariotti. So yeah, but then the best thing was even credentialed writers were bashing him, saying pretty much don't knock bloggers, they do their thing. Van Pelt came out and said a couple things.
It's such an old man, the way we used to do things was better type stance.
Which he's not even that old.
No, he's not.
Everyone is obviously threatened by bloggers because print is dead. And
I mean, hell, you just said Kornheiser. He just started a podcast. He's off of daytime radio now, he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had a successful radio show.
Yes.
Obviously, he's still going strong with PTI when he's not on vacation every other week.
Vacations in Delaware, mind you.
That's right.
And if only Bill Simmons were still filling in for there, but yeah.
Hometown hero.
So I got Jay Mariotti as my whiner of the week.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a strong one.
I'm with you.
My whiner of the week is CBS, a.k.a. the people who still pay Rodney Harrison. They came out this week. I'll just read the headline now. CBS wishes fans had been more patient with Mike Carey. Should I just leave you at that?
I mean, I like Mike Carey, I guess, but he's just not built for on air as a personality.
So Fox went ahead.
He's utilitarian.
Yeah. So Fox went ahead and did this first with is it Pereira?
Yeah, Mike
Pereira, who was the head of officiating.
Sure.
And he has energy, and he's not wrong all the time. Like
He's good on TV. I don't know about you guys. I only watch the AFC broadcast when the Eagles are on there, and I've never seen him be right. And he's just a stone.
It was a running joke on Twitter that whenever Mike Carey said what it was, everyone just geared up and expected it to be the opposite. It was like a running joke.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you're in the stadium and they know the replay won't come out in your favor. They don't show it.
Of course.
Maybe instead they just put up Mike Carey.
Yeah.
So, CBS for complaining about their viewers. The white bread... CBS demographic is a thing who I hope none of us are in it. They get all the viewers, but, I
watch CBS because that's where the Steelers are on, but outside of that, I'm not going out of my way to watch
maybe
CBS.
60 Minutes. That's my
I don't have that kind of time.
Is Two Broke Girls still a thing?
I think. I'm glad
They are
that
in Wilmington.
That's right.
I'm glad that I can't say for sure if they are a thing or not, but I think.
Bring back Yes Dear.
So do we try to come to a consensus on the Winer of the Week? How does this
what are we
work?
saying?
I don't know. Yours are both fine.
I
don't think
we all
that
have
either of
pretty
yours are
strong ones.
specifically better than mine or worse than
Right.
mine.
I just have a feeling.
Yours is Jack, because who cares about Mike Carey? But Mariotti's good/bad. I don't know. Like, they all suck.
I feel like we should put it to a poll on Facebook.
Ooh, using the social medias I read about. You're putting Mariotti to shame already.
Yes.
Changing with the times.
Yeah, wow. Mariotti is rolling in his
Mariotti can be pissed about this. Write a letter to the editor. Dear Abby, people are making fun of me. What do we do?
How do I make them stop? Where's my safe space?
I'm just going to keep reading Beetle Bailey over again until I'm not angry anymore.
How many points did he get on Around the Horn when he said this? That's my wonder.
Who knows? Hopefully he got muted.
Yeah, probably. So that's what I've got this week. I think that was a solid week one. I have no idea what you're pantomiming to me.
As that mentioned, we do have our Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, and Instagram pages. That's all Shower Beer Pod.
So at Shower Beer Pod. All right, that's us. Go ahead and enjoy the weekend. Enjoy week one of football action. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Have a good one.